From the horrors of slavery to the indignities of segregation, Black Americans have faced systemic oppression and violence throughout history, yet their spirit remains unbroken, fueled by a relentless quest for justice and equality.
Akon, you're considered a first generation American. Your parents are African. You were born in the United States but spent your early childhood in Senegal and then moved back to the United States. What do you consider yourself today? Are you American? Are you African? Are you African American? What are you?
I'm an African raised in America. You know, clearly.
So you're not American?
I wish I was, but my mind is not African. I mean American. It's clearly African.
But you have the accent. You have,
I went to school in America. My whole earlier childhood, I was raised in Africa. Then I came to America. Every summer, we would go back to Africa for a vacation. And then when I graduated high school, it was a choice whether we wanted to go to Africa or stay in the U.S. And just the opportunities in the U.S. was so much greater than Africa.
Well, you're certainly the perfect example of the American dream coming true.
Well, thank you.
Millions of Africans who make it to the States and who don't, have the same success and the same luck as you have. And, what would be your advice to a young African who's immigrating to the United States today?
Well, I think this advice will go to any person migrating into the States. Ultimately, you can't change who you are. And I think the biggest obstacle is that when people come to the U.S., they kind of alienate their original personalities, way of lives, and they conform to what's there. And when you do that, first of all, you will never get accepted.
But isn't that the best way to integrate?
Absolutely not, because first of all, it's no way you can move forward and you're not you. Like, one thing I do notice about America is that they respect other cultures. They actually admire other cultures very much. So when they can see the difference in who you are, their attitude towards you is completely different as well too. But if you're walking into me and I know you're a foreigner, but you're acting like an American, you just seem fake. It's not genuine. So the respect level is completely different. But if I walk up to you as an American and you're clearly an African or Asian, that makes me more curious about who you are. I ask more questions. I'm now more, I'm more intuitive about what this is. I get more motivated to want to learn more about it. And then the respect level is different because now you're teaching me something. You follow?
So when you're in the States, you're proud to say you're African?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely, clearly African.
Right. You once told the Source magazine, and I want to quote this: "Black people in the U.S. can nag all they want how the system is against black people, but if they saw how other people lived in Africa, they would see how blessed they really are." Do you still believe this today when you see unarmed black teenagers being killed by the police, when you see protests in St. Louis, in Missouri, where you lived for a long time, when you see people taking to the streets in Atlanta and New York to denounce police brutality against young African American men? Do you think the system really is for these people?
Well, the system was never for them.
So what made you say this to
because when I said that, I was talking about the environment and where they live and the rights that they actually have and the blessing that they do have actual access to. In Africa, the way I grew up, let's just pick a project in New York, for instance. That's a 5-star hotel compared to the environment I came up in. Like, if they see how they live, they actually get money from the government. They actually are programs that helps the impoverished and the poor, and you get food stamps, and I mean, like, they have it good compared to Africa. You follow? There's a huge difference in how the government allocate funds towards poor and how the government allocates funds towards poor in Africa. The environments are not even left and right. If these guys were able to be taken from where the environment they're in now to the same equal environment in Africa, they would be crying to come back home to America.
But you say now that the system is against them. When you talk about
let's get to the system.
Yes, through the
I was
system.
talking about way of life.
Right.
Now, as far as the system in America was never built for black people. And this is my personal opinion. I'm speaking for myself. I don't believe it was never built for black people because that system has never been changed. Those documents has never been altered. These things were made back in the 1800s. And these are the same exact literature that's down today. So mind you, at the time it was made, black people was never in a position where they were, looked at as equal.
The struggle of black people in America is the story of resilience in the face of unspeakable adversity. Despite centuries of oppression, they have continued to fight for their rights and dignity. Our fight for justice encompasses a wide range of issues, from police brutality and mass incarceration to economic inequality and systemic racism. It is a fight for the soul of America. In the 21st century, the struggle for black liberation persists. Movements like Black Lives Matter have sparked a renewed wave of activism, demanding an end to police violence and structural racism. The struggle for black liberation is not just about changing laws, it's about transforming hearts and minds. It's about building a society where every person is valued and respected. Our journey towards equality is far from over, but we draw strength from the legacy of those who came before us. We stand on the shoulders of giants and we will continue to march forward until justice is truly served. Thank you for joining us on this journey through the untold struggle of black people in America. Remember to like, share, and subscribe for more stories of courage and resilience. Until next time, cheers and have a good one.